I am not sure if what I will say today will look like a sermon. I will just talk to you. I'm not quite sure in how far this will be like a teaching. I think I'd rather be speaking with you about what saddens me, makes me sad in the last while. Not only now at the moment, but in general, it's not a pleasant thing for me to hear the news or to read them. First of all, everything is bad. But the news live of just telling the bad things. A peaceful and positive thing is not pleasant to read for people. They need something bad and something, well, where there's something happening. Only then it's interesting for people to be reading it. And in the news we find a lot of very sad things right now. So after watching or reading several different news, you can see that every source represents the information as it is good for them. Somehow there's always a political sense behind it. I couldn't imagine any way of news where there's no propaganda in it. Be it right or left-sided propaganda, red or black or green or blue. All the colors, all the political directions, whatever you read or watch, everything is, there's propaganda all in it. And especially these days, it's very clear. And people are opposing each other. People are fighting, arguing, and discussing. Independence of which propaganda is theirs and they belong to. And depending on who is washing their brain at that moment. On the other side, people want to watch news that are like their moral views and ideas. So their brains are even washed more. So it's a circle. I took a rule for myself to not be speaking about politics here. So today I also don't want to speak about politics. Honestly, it repulses me. If I hear sermons about political propaganda, where a pastor or somebody who preaches, a priest, a pastor or a theologian or whoever it may be, where he speaks and utters his own political meaning. This is obviously not the reason why he became a spiritual leader. May it be that a church or a synagogue. If this place is a place that preaches political messages, it always brings separations, and hardenings, and conflicts, and mean things between the people. Or even if it were a mosque or any other spiritual building, whatever religion, if somebody preaches in a political way, people leave the building or they switch off their mobile phones or whatever it is after watching the sermon, and it doesn't fill them with the Spirit of God, but with a political brainwash. And after such a sermon, people leave with some way of aggressive feeling, because they have been manipulated to be thinking in a certain way or thinking against somebody else who thinks in another way. I think political messages are in the field of politicians. It is their responsibility that they bear. Our responsibility of those who read the Bible, who are led by the Spirit, is to see what is written in this book. And the message that we carry looks to love and to redemption and to make things better and to restore. And it always points heavenwards, where our future really lies. And as I said before, I won't say anything political today, or that's not my point, what I want to share. I want to discuss another question with you. What would Yeshua do today? How would he behave? And the first question I'd like to ask, would the Yeshua be wearing a mask today or not? I think yes. I would even say absolutely yes. Not because he would be afraid about for himself. He wasn't afraid of death. And he met death. And he approached it. He went there. But I'm absolutely sure that Yeshua, even if he would think that a mask isn't really helpful, at least not for the one who is wearing it, even though so his whole message led to the good, to the well-being of others. I am sure that Yeshua would do everything possible to protect others. Even if there were only just a very small chance. Just 1% that the mask would protect the health of another person. I am sure that Yeshua wouldn't just leave aside that 1%. And even though in Israel it was always warm, and it still is. But I imagine Yeshua in a way that he would do everything possible to protect others, to give us forgiveness and peace and health and life. He took death on himself for that. He was beaten, and he went to those trials willingly and knowingly. I didn't say like, oh, that would be more hard to breathe now because of the heat. Some days ago I have been told that the mask isn't helpful at all and that somebody's just made that up. And I was offered various links to different homepages and stuff on the internet. And my answer was, I'm not sure what people will say on the internet. But I'm very often on my computer now and participating in video conferences, and we speak to each other. And the screen may be just 1 meter away from me. Every time after a video conference, do you know what I do? I wash the screen. And people may tell me whatever they want on YouTube, that the mask isn't helpful. Well, I see how I speak on my screen. I see that something is landing there. And when I preach, maybe you might need 5 meters of distance or more. And if I sing, how many meters do I need there? You can watch a lot of videos on YouTube that will tell you that a mask isn't helpful. For me, it's enough to stretch out my arm like this and speak a few minutes. Maybe I'm spitting a bit more than other people. But the mask is helpful for you, not for me. For the other person. And that's why I'm sure that Yeshua would be wearing a mask, even if the chances of it helping were very low. Some of us are not able to wear masks because of their health, I understand that. But do whatever is possible to protect the life of other people. And if you cannot wear a mask, then think of something else. I'm sure that Yeshua would protect other people. And all those distances and the regulations about how many people are allowed to be in one room and how you can be speaking to others. I'm sure you will find plenty of videos on the internet about that. And maybe there are plenty of videos telling you that COVID-19 is not something dangerous. Well, yes, okay. It's possible. I don't know. But what I know is if there is a chance that I can protect the health of somebody else, I will take it. I'll make use of it. And I believe that Yeshua would be using this chance as well. Yeshua and pandemics. I'm sure that Yeshua knew some things about pandemics or things like that. He knew that you couldn't go around them. He knew that things like that would be coming, that man himself couldn't do anything against it. There's a need for doctors. There's a need for those preparing vaccines and preparing medications. There's a need for all of this. But anyway, still there have been pandemics and they will still be coming. Just as long until Yeshua comes back. We see that even in our readings like today, in our paragraph that we read. There was a plague. There was a plague that the Lord sent to attack the people of Israel, and they died. Well, not everybody died, and then it came to an end, the plague. And that happens again and again. Death comes and is there for a while, and then it stops again. At that time, it stops when the Lord stops death. Yeshua understood one thing, that there wouldn't be any pandemic where God wouldn't be behind it. And there is no end for any pandemic until God doesn't say it. And everything that's asked of men during that time, during the time of the Bible I'm speaking, only naming one point: live in righteousness and save the life of people that are around you. Deliver yourself and cleanse yourself from every sin. And do your best. Do everything that's necessary to cleanse your surrounding from sin. And secondly, help others not to become sick. Help them to become healthy again. Help them to save life. Help them to save their lives. And I think that's very simple. And there's another thing that's spoken about very much these days. There's spoken about racism. Racism is really something gross. Because it is against the creation, how God has done it. And God created man. He didn't create them as white or black or brown or yellow or red. He created man, the first man, who is the ancestor of all men. Which color did Noah have? And which race did he belong to? The only family that survived. Which color did he have? I don't have an idea. And we don't find anything about this in the Bible. But I know one thing, that all of us are descendants of that family. Different races and languages and nations. And putting somebody else down, another person, and dishonoring them because of the people that he belongs to is against God's creation. And from the Bible's perspective, and from Yeshua's perspective, it's disgusting. It's sin. Because when Yeshua was teaching people, he taught them love. And when he had died, he didn't die for Jews only, but also for other people. And he didn't make any distinctions between colors. And no distinction between geographical areas. So racism is a sin. That is disgusting and terrible and dirty. A dirty sin, yeah. It's something that is provoked by Satan. And it's not worthy of a believer to come even close to that. If I look at demonstrations regarding this topic, I'm not extremely joyful either. Because I know from history that revolutions don't lead to anything good. I know from the scripture that all redemption only happened after God's will. And as a Jew, I know that our history is based on our own strength. But our history is based on how God redeemed us and He rescued us. We were slaves in Egypt. And Moses brought us out. That's what it's written. In might and as a warrior. Is that what it's written? That He brought us out like that? No. It says God led us out. What were we doing in Egypt? Did we go on demonstrations? Have we tried to tear down pyramids and castles? Have we tore down any statues? What did we do? Did we do revolutions? A rebellion? We cried out to Him, help us. And He brought us out. When we went out of Egypt and fought the enemies, could we have said that it was by our own strength and we did this? No. And when we entered the Holy Land, the Promised Land, this land where the those spies, I think they saw those giants and they said they will tear us into pieces. Did we fight them? Because we are strong. Because we have special weapons or had something like that? Did we have any special machines that helped us tear down the walls of Jericho? Did we approach the walls of Jericho and start shooting on them with pistols or weapons? Did we place bombs there and bring everything to collapse? Is that how we entered that city and took it? Is that written in the Bible? No. We walked around the walls in a mass, quietly. For some days. We didn't say anything. And all of a sudden we started screaming. And the walls fell down. And it is said that they fell to the outside, not to the inside, to the outside. Who did that? God. Do you remember the famous story about David and Goliath? Like the giant, the great giant Goliath. Everybody was afraid of him. And the boy, David, just killed him. Because David was like this famous karate kid or fighter, wrestler. Or because he had like those great strategies and fighting. Do you remember how David killed him? He took a stone and a sling, and Goliath died. Or when David in the Psalms, when he didn't say, I am so strong, I'm so cool, that I went there and fought them. I am just like Robin Hood, who always hits the goal. Speaking about Goliath there, he knew exactly it was God who directed the stone. And when they tried killing us at the times of Esther, which is why we celebrate Purim, what happened to us? We all stood up and wanted to protect ourselves. And we said, nothing will work out for you, because we have so many weapons. No, that's not what I read in the Bible. We were crying and fasting. And God turned things around. And God gave us the right to intervene for ourselves. And He turned things in such a way that everybody was afraid of us. That was Him. And when we celebrate Hanukkah, we speak about winning. Our warrior forces won over. Oh no, for centuries we have been celebrating a miracle. Not the miracle that we gained something by weapons, but the miracle that it was from God. Because He gave us victory. And He gave the cleansing of the temple. When the disciples and the people came to Yeshua, and they were hoping that they would rise up for war now, and it would go like on a demonstration. And we will just burn down like the chariots of the Romans. Let's go and attack them all. Did Yeshua say, yeah, let's go? I'll be the first one in the demonstration. I'll be the first one to throw stones. Nope. Yeshua said, don't oppose the bad, the evil. He said, love your neighbor as yourself. And he wasn't the first one to say this. But he also said that. And he didn't call for a riot or revolution. The revolution that he brought, and that the apostles carried on after him. It wasn't a revolution of opposition. It was a revolution of love and righteousness. It was a revolution of peace, even with the enemies. That might sound very wild for some of us. But it was a revolution of those who said it's better for me to be saddened, for somebody to... because every revolution kills people, every riot and opposition, it brings death. And we know this from history. Be that the French Revolution, or the October Revolution in the Soviet Union. Whatever those revolutions took place, everybody knew and now every revolution also brings brings people to death. And that is not what Yeshua wanted. Love. That is how he acted on the cross. Forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. That is what his disciples did afterwards. Forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. There was a happy and just great church that grew very fast until it became a state church. In the 4th century of our time. From that time on, not many people remember a strong and righteous church. It went downward. It took like a different course, a bad course. Power. And might destroys the suffering of the Messiah. That's what we know from history. And that's what we see in parts of the New Testament. That's the reason why it said if you have to pay, what you have to pay to the state, pay it, the taxes. And be submitted to human, to what is given from God, the politicians. So you won't find a revolution in the New Testament. You won't find demonstrations for freedom in the New Testament. You won't find anything like that. If you were finding something like that, please send me the link. That would be interesting to read it. Where they might have been burning cops' cars or something, and where that was welcomed. And where believers would have been robbing stores, and God said, that is great. Where did people set other people's health in danger? By going to demonstrations that could be dangerous in spreading a virus, and God said, that's great, that's good. Well, the question is, who does believe in God still today? I want to return back to the beginning where I started speaking about the situation. Racism is disgusting, and all of us should be doing everything to fight it. I will do this by praying and by loving people, by helping people, regardless of the color of their skin. And I will teach and show the love of our Messiah to others as well. Because Yeshua loves all of them, everyone. He loves everyone, no matter where they come from what people they are. I will read some scriptures soon. Well, I said that I would be preaching differently today. That's why I will just be reading some scriptures without saying much about it. Because this will speak for itself. Romans 15. 1 to 3. We who are strong ought to bear with the failings of the weak and not to please ourselves. Each of us should please his neighbor for his good, to build him up. For even Christ did not please himself, but, as it is written, the insults of those who insult you have fallen on me. Pleasing the others, helping the others. 1 Corinthians 10. In the context of what people should eat and what they shouldn't, there's one principle in verse 23 and 24. Everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. Everything is permissible, but not everything is constructive. Nobody should seek his own good, but the good of others. And in Philippians, Philippians 2, 1 through 4. If you have any encouragement from being united with Christ, if any comfort from His love, if any fellowship with the Spirit, if any tenderness and compassion, then make my joy complete by being like-minded, having the same love, being one in spirit and purpose. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but in humility consider others better than yourselves. Each of you should look not only to your own interests, but also to the interests of others. And every time in the context of those passages, there is an explanation why we should act like this. Because Yeshua did the same. We will be similar to Him if we imitate Him. I will be all for teaching and praying about how to go against racism, because Yeshua did this. And I will do it because, just as He did it. I will care about the health of people surrounding me, no matter if there will be like a second wave or not. Because Yeshua would do it in this way. And if I read prophecies about Yeshua, I see that a time will come where He will return, and there won't be any more pandemics, and there won't be any more sickness, and there won't be any more racism, and no more anti-Semitism, and no more wars, and no more oppositions and uprisals, because Yeshua came for this. He died for this. That's what He shed His holy blood for. Not to change any political system, but to change the heart and the soul of man. He has shown how a man should be. And He did everything so that we can be just as He is. And so that we can be united with Him. How can we live in the times of COVID-19? How should we react to racism in Yeshua, like Him? And throughout our whole life. I've come to the end. I'll put on my mask, not to protect myself, and not because my faith is small, but because I think that Yeshua would act in this way for you. God bless you. Thank you.